Hey guys, this is the podcast Riding with the Raiders, and this episode today is Battling Struggles the Raider Way.
This is a podcast built by grade 11 students in the Leadership Class. My name is Avery.
My name is Max.
My name is Megan.
I'm Taryn.
And I'm Landon.
Hey Megan, what's a struggle you face in school?
Personally, a struggle that I face is never feeling good enough when it comes to my marks. If I get like a 95, I'll ask myself why I didn't get 100 and tear myself apart over the lost marks, rather than realizing a 95 is a good grade and that I should be proud. I'm trying to overcome this and not be so hard on myself. I'm trying to give myself more free time at home and not constantly doing schoolwork. By not being so hard on myself, I'm becoming happier. Even if my marks are decreasing a little bit, my mental health is improving, so yeah.
I really agree with that, and I feel like I felt the same way in grade 9, but not much in.
Did you overcome that?
Yeah.
Trying to be so good.
I feel like that's good, but even getting a 95, that you're realizing now is a good mark and that you should just try to relax more and accepting the 95 is a good mark.
For sure, yeah. So Avery, what's a struggle that you face in school?
A struggle I face in school is procrastination. I tend to wait till the last minute to complete assignments or homework, and it can eventually pile up. I still complete my assignments and stuff, but the stress is not needed. Recently, I've been setting away time specifically for my work, and it's helped me get less stressed out and can help me ensure that all my work is at the best it can be.
Something I do to overcome that is I'll make a to-do list when I get home and put set times, and it really helps me get everything complete on time.
Yeah, Avery, I totally agree. I get distracted with my work really easily, and I find it really hard to complete my assignments. And I end up having a lot of work to catch up on. But I find prioritizing my work and just trying to focus on one assignment at a time is really helped me, and taking little breaks every now and then just to keep myself from getting stressed out really helps. And yeah.
I actually don't do anything, I don't have a to-do list or anything like that to keep me on track, but I try to just remember and realize that if I wait till the last minute, it's probably going to be my worst work, not my best work, so I gotta hand in my best work, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's really true.
I feel that, man.
For you, Landon, you got a problem you struggle with?
Yeah, so some of the problems I struggle with in school is that when we have presentations, I really stutter, just like now. This is even hard for me, so it's really difficult because I get super embarrassed.
I go through that too. This is a really awkward thing to do, but I think it's good life lessons to learn because we are going to have to do presentations in our future. So, in this episode, we are interviewing teachers regarding mental health, a one-on-one interview with the LST teacher, Miss Mancina. We're interviewing a grade 9 and grade 12 student to see the difference between the beginning of high school and the end experiences, and lastly, an interview with the guidance counselor, Miss McCaney. The first segment of the podcast is us interviewing teachers around the school about mental health. The first question we asked teachers was, how has students' mental health changed since you first started teaching here? The first reply we got was from Miss Tran. She said, it creates more anxiety. It keeps getting worse for them because they break down, especially with the new math format. Only one level. Miss Tran is a math teacher, so I can see how that really affects her.
Yeah.
I could also see that in my peers and the anxiety that they have during math class and breaking down and not really knowing exactly what to do because they never faced that kind of struggle before.
Well, I know for me, grade 9 math was very stressful, and I can't imagine not having the different levels now. I feel that's really stressful for them.
Because it all depends on the foundation you had in grade 8.
Yeah.
And everyone went to different schools with different school boards, so you never really know as a teacher what to expect, and it's not.
Yeah, because my grade 8 year was brutal. My teacher didn't teach us anything. We kind of just did religion stuff.
Exactly, and that's hard for kids that have to do that.
Well, especially coming out of COVID, these kids, they've been online for 1 years. Now they got to come into grade 9 in person, no masks, and expect to do the work perfectly good with no levels. It's going to be hard, obviously.
Speaking of COVID, Mr. Harrison's reply to that question was, I think that the pandemic has had a great effect on students' mental health. There's a lot more need due to the pandemic because people are all dealing with it differently, and it's still ongoing.
I even see it in my little brother because he did most of his grade school, the later years, online, so going to high school is going to be really different for him, and I feel it's going to affect his mental health because the classes are longer and there's more need for different things than you do need in grade school.
Speaking of siblings, my older sister attended the University of Windsor, and with all this COVID stuff going around and being online, she actually decided to drop out. She didn't like it that much. It was getting too hard for her, so I can see how COVID is affecting us all.
The next question we asked teachers was, what have you observed when you were a student that is different now as a teacher in regards to mental health? Mr. Arner replied, when the going gets tough, you guys drop classes. When I was a kid, you were in a course that was too hard, you finished the course. Nowadays, you can just drop the class.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of students drop classes just because the class was too hard or difficult for them.
Even if they don't like the people that are in the class, they'll drop it too, and I think that dropping classes is too easy nowadays.
Yeah, I agree with you guys that dropping classes is too easy, but then I also think about people and having mental health issues and having too much anxiety or being overwhelmed, and having that, option just to drop the class really helps a lot of kids.
Next, we asked Mr. Oriat the same question, and his reply was, it's more acceptable today for people to talk about it, more so than back in 1988 when I was in high school. Back then, if you had a mental illness, you were weak and you couldn't talk about it. You were in trouble and were not going to be helped well compared to now. And hopefully in 10 years from now, it'll improve even more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like nowadays we have more opportunities to help us with our mental health, and it's more focused on to have that extra help when needed than what it was.
It's more acceptable to have a mental illness today, and you don't feel embarrassed or ashamed about it.
The next question we asked teachers were, what are common struggles you see in students? Mr. Krause replied, staying off their phones, paying attention, and focusing on schoolwork.
I can relate to that because I go on my phone a lot. I don't know. Music really helps me calm me down. And when I have, say I'm changing the song, right? They'll think I'm on my phone, but I'm actually not.
Landon, would you say that your phone and, the music helps you get schoolwork done better, to the best of your ability?
Yeah, I think it helps me a lot because it really, calms me down and I can just get, focused and in, a groove.
That's good. Next, Miss Nikita replied, the biggest struggle is anxiety, where students feel unsure or nervous about tests and assignments.
I even see this in my peer mentor class. A lot of the kids are not confident in their abilities, and they would get nervous for small things like assignments or just handing in work on time.
Yeah, even I'm like that, Avery, because I feel like the littlest assignment can affect my marks so much, so I put a lot of pressure on myself because I want to keep up with high marks, because I think that if I get a low one, it'll bring my overall average down. So yeah, I really relate to that. The next question we asked teachers was, do you think mental awareness in schools has evolved in the past 10 years? Mr. Beamer replied, yes, absolutely. There's a lot more support and makes people more aware. Guidance is more aware, and it's overall more accepted nowadays.
I agree, and I think even our guidance office at the school is very open to inviting new students to talk about the problems that they have regarding mental health or just with their basic classes.
We also have really good guidance counselors, so it's super easy to talk to them.
Yeah, Miss McKinney's the best.
I really think the wellness room also helped a lot of kids when we had it. So if we open that up again, I think that would be really useful for students.
Yeah. So Mr. Purnell replied to that question too, and he said, yes, I definitely think it has evolved. There's definitely more awareness, which ties in with what Mr. Beamer said too. The next question we asked teachers was, do you think high school relationships affect students' performance? Miss Gagne said yes, because it affects mental health, which affects your ability to perform well.
I even see this. People get too focused on their relationship and they bring it into their schoolwork, and I feel like those two things shouldn't mix.
I feel like it could go both ways. If you're in a bad relationship, you always be sad all the time, your school marks will really reflect that. But if you're in a good, happy, healthy relationship, then I feel like you'll be more happy, outgoing and stuff. So.
Yeah, and I feel like you rely a lot on that person, so that can be good or bad, depending on, Landon said, if it's toxic or not. Next, Mr. Forbes replied to this question saying, yes, because they are real, and I've seen them have different effects on all students, so I can't say if there's a negative or positive effect. It can be positive, they work together as a team, but it can be detrimental if the relationship is toxic, which is pretty much exactly what Landon said.
Well, and if there's a relationship in the classroom, saying you're in a class and then your girlfriend or boyfriend is in your class with you, that might also cause distractions Or if you guys break up, it might cause
Awkwardness.
awkwardness in the classroom.
More distractions. The next question we asked teachers was, what impact does home life have on school performance? It can be negative or positive. Miss Braithwaite replied, it is a both negative and positive effect. It depends on what the home life is like. If it's happy and supportive, kids do better in school. If it's negative, kids tend to do worse in school because their home life is more stressful.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's true.
Oh yeah, it's for sure true.
I think if you have a supportive system at home, it's a lot easier because you feel the more support to get your work done, and like if you have questions, it can help you. And if you don't have someone there for you to help you with your work, it can be kind of stressful and confusing, and you feel like no one's going to help you.
And I think you're just not
Yeah.
motivated to do it. I mean, if no one's telling you to do your work and telling you to do your homework, then why are you going to do it in the first place?
For sure, I definitely think it's good to have parents that like care about your grades. Because if you're just failing and they don't care, then there's no point in you trying because you don't have anyone to try to impress or anything. The next teacher we asked was Mr. Mayu. He replied, a huge impact. The support we have at home affects majorly how you perform in school, because if you don't have the support at home, it makes you feel less of yourself, which will affect your schoolwork. You can overcome that, but it makes it a lot harder. Friends can help you if your family isn't.
I think what he said is really true, and what he said about overcoming it, it might be too much on top of all the schoolwork and the new changes that you have in high school. So it could be just a lot for students to take in all at once.
Yeah, I agree. We then asked teachers, how do sports improve students' mental health? Mr. Sazanu replied, if you play any sport and you go back to the classroom, you feel better. Sports help students relieve stress and socialize and get better in class. Most of my students on the basketball and soccer team know if they don't complete the assignment, they cannot come to practice, which helps motivate them to complete that assignment. It helps organizing and being responsible. It helps them want to come to school and keep up their attendance.
I really think sports are a good stress reliever too.
Even just having gym during the school day can like release stress and make the day go by faster.
Yeah, it gives you like something completely else to think about and just focus on like your body health rather than thinking about school. Next, Mr. Hahn replied, they can make friends, feel good about themselves, get exercise, relieve stress.
I can totally agree with that one. I know playing basketball with all the kids in the locker room and even football. I mean, there's 50 kids on the team coming in grade 9. I didn't know half of them. I made so many friends just from sports, and then that just goes out through high school.
And that's a wrap on the questions we asked teachers about mental health.
Okay, so we have Julia here, grade 9, and we're going to ask her about her transformation from grade 8 to high school and how it was like with COVID and all the stuff going on in the world right now.
Okay, so when I was in grade 8, I felt like I was not pressured into doing my homework or anything, but once I entered grade 9, I felt like my grades actually mattered, and they do.
Did you find like the workload was a lot different?
Yeah, I feel like I have so much work now, and it's really stressful to try to manage my outside activities and school.
How was even entering high school and you had the weird periods at the start where you had like a 2.5-hour period? Did that change now that you have regular semesters?
Yes, I feel like now I have a lot more work means that the classes that I have 4 classes, and I don't know.
So how does it feel to have more freedom?
I love having more freedom in high school. I can go out for lunch with my friends, and the teachers aren't on me as much, and I'm more independent in high school.
Did you find that your friend group changed a lot when you got to high school?
Yes, in high school, I kind of found my place more, and I found like more friends that are like me. Means that I wasn't like forced into friendships.
What about exams? You gonna have some this year?
Yes, and I'm not excited.
Okay, so overall, Julia, would you say that your mental health is better in high school or it's worse?
Overall, I would say that my mental health is better just because I feel that in high school I have a lot more help and places I can go to receive help for my grade. And
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
We're here with the guidance counselor, Miss McCaney, here on our podcast. Do you see any progression in students' marks when they reach out?
So what do you mean by reaching out? Like reaching out to talk to their classroom teacher or
Coming
to guidance?
to
Coming to me. So I would suggest before you come to guidance anyways, first is to talk to your classroom teacher, because sometimes it's just a mixed communication between the student and the teacher rather than a big thing that needs to be fixed with getting guidance involved and talking to the classroom teacher. So my advice would be, if there's something that you're struggling with in your classroom, first talk to your talk to your classroom teacher. And then 9 times out of 10, your problems are already solved right at that classroom level.
Do you see an effect on students with those that have a heavy loaded semester?
Absolutely. So especially ones that have a part-time job, or if you guys play sports, right? So what we try to do is we try to balance that timetable a little bit. So semester 1 has a few heavy courses. Semester 2 will have a few heavy courses. But we try to make sure we balance that. Doesn't happen all the time, but when they do have a heavy semester, something's got to give, right? So they can't do everything and all. Sometimes they have to put their job on hold for a bit or their athletics on hold for a bit. But as a grade 12, what you want to do is you might even want to encourage yourselves to have a heavy timetable, because when you go into university, if that's the pathway you want to go into, you're now taking 5 courses per semester, including labs, if you're going into those math and sciences. So having a heavy semester is not necessarily a bad thing. You learn some strategies and coping mechanisms on how to balance your academic and your social life as well. So
it's good preparation for university?
Very good preparation. And then you could even say, I'm not that person that likes to do all this classwork, right? So maybe I need to look at a different career pathway. So figure university, you're taking 5 classes, not just 4. You're taking 5. So it's 1 additional class that you would be taking in grade 12.
And how do you help students' mental health? Like, what strategies do you find?
So sometimes when kids are feeling overwhelmed, just even coming in here and just, taking a few deep breaths and just letting them get away, kind of escaping from maybe what they're dealing with, that could be in the classroom or in the hallways. But we also have our resources that we tap into. So we have a child and youth worker here, right? We also have a social worker that can be referred. And then, of course, we've got our community partners that will give the kids those numbers and call their parents and kind of have that conversation to be able to support if further strategies need to be used. But sometimes it's just having a little bit of a breather. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, because grade 9 was part of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys, across from the learning support room, the wellness room?
Yeah.
Yes.
So were you guys familiar with the wellness room?
No.
Somewhat.
Okay, so we're one of the first schools here in Essex County in the high schools that we designed a room that we called a wellness room. And like I said, some of the kids would come in here and just kind of, decompress a little bit. Our wellness room is kind of like that on a 15-minute kind of per basis. So when kids are feeling overwhelmed or stressed, it's that old technical thing where your frontal lobe opens, right? And you're stressing. It takes at least 17 minutes for that frontal lobe or that frontal cortex to kind of close, and then you can start kind of not feeling so overwhelmed. So we base the wellness room on giving at least 15 to 20 minutes where you can just settle yourselves down and see if we can get back to work, right, in your classrooms. So it's a quiet area. Sometimes it's just like mood lighting a little bit. There's puzzles. Maybe you just need to get your mind off of what's going on so you can work on a puzzle. You can journal, and there's always a teacher in there. So we're hoping to get that wellness room back up again. And like I said, every 15 to 20 minutes, we gauge to see how you're doing. If your classroom ready, we bring you back. If not, that's where we might put those other measures in or call home, right? And make sure that we do some further investigation as to why you're feeling that way.
I think our leadership class is actually bringing that back,
I heard you're doing some bulletin boards in there and making it all, because it's something just to come in, and even if you're, looking at some of the sayings that are on the wall, right? Just kind of intrigues you a little bit to get you thinking, right? And that's one of those strategies. We talk about those five senses, and the reason why we do that is so that you're not thinking about what you were thinking about before you came in here, right? That's a mind shift. So we're hoping the wellness room does that for you guys too.
Now, like you mentioned before, our grade 9 year got cut out with COVID. Do you think COVID had a big impact on students' mental health?
100%. 100%. And the reason why I say that is you folks, you love to be with people, right? The majority of young people love to be around their friends, right? Whether it's one person, 5 people, 15 people within your group, you need that connection. And with COVID, there was a lack of that. We tried it through FaceTime or we tried it through Teams. It just didn't, it's not the same thing coming into the school, having that one-on-one, right? Seeing those facial reactions or, just that sense of belonging and COVID was a real big, doozy on mental health because a lot of things now were communicated through text, right? And we all know when things are written can have a different meaning behind it as opposed to when we're just talking like this. You can read my body language, right? But if I were to type it up, maybe it could come across a little colder or mean or whatever it is. So yeah, mental health was a big, if you did not, we noticed if a lot of kids did not stay connected, there was a lot of issues, not just academically, but socially was a big deal.
Now, here's the last question. Students that come to you, do you think they're 100% sure about their future, or most of them not really know?
I'm still not sure about my future. What we see is, we see a lot of kids have an idea in place and that they've thought about it for quite some time and they're taking the courses they need in grade 11 and grade 12. So they've got a firm idea of what they want to do. But we see what happens. And this is what I say to the kids sometimes when they don't know what they want to do. Just think of year 1 in post-secondary. What do I want to try in year 1? Because even that, when you think you're 100% sure of what you want to do, some people get into their program and that first year, they change their mind. Because now they're taking the classes and they're taking those programs and going, oh, this is what I thought was totally different than what I was reading or I thought it would be about, right? So, nope, I don't think they're 100% sure, right? You want to know if they're 100% sure of what they want to do? I think they've got a very good idea of what they want to do, but I caution that. Keep an open mind. See what's around you. Don't shut doors because you'll miss things that walk by. And really make sure, and you guys are in grade 11 right now, right? Really make sure that if you know you want to go a college route and then maybe transfer to university or not go to university at all from college or just a university route, the programs are so competitive right now in college. They don't care that you've taken a university course. They're going to look at the overall mark. So if you know you're going to go into a college program that a lot of people apply to, take the right courses in grade 11 and grade 12 so you can knock it out of the park and you have those courses to get into those programs that you want to do. Sometimes keeping those doors open, we got to be very, very careful. Let's say bio. You do a grade 11 bio at the university because you're thinking you want to go that way. But then you're thinking, you know what? But I always want to go to college anyways. And you get maybe a 60 in the bio at the university. If you would have taken the college bio and got a 90, and now you're going to get into the program that you want to say there. That 60, not going to get you in. So those are some things that puts a lot of pressure on you guys, even in grade 11, to really think about what do I want to do. If you're achieving 80s and 90s in your university courses, stay with university. That's okay. What I'm talking about is when we're hitting those 60s, right? Even low 70s within a university course, really see what what you want to do. You guys can go online at any time to universities, to colleges. Go to their open houses. Don't wait till grade 12. Go, if you guys were in grade 9 and I was here talking to you, I would have said, go to a grade 9 open house at St. Clair at the university. Even though that might not be the school you want to go to, but it gives you an idea of what a university program looks like and what a college program looks like.
All right, well, thanks for the input. It was great having a conversation with you.
Awesome. You guys as well. I want to come back to, what's it called?
Riding with the Raiders.
Riding with the Raiders. Yeehaw.
Awesome.
All right. Good luck, guys. A+, sir, for them.
Just remember to take care of your mental health and know that you're not alone. Lots of people struggle with it. Honestly, everyone's probably going to struggle with it at some point, and there's a lot of resources available for everyone who is struggling with something.
And always remember that you can talk to a trusted adult or a teacher at the school. You can also book a guidance appointment with Ms. McCamey or Ms. Rhodes, and you can just talk about whatever you want.
You have people here for you. Just remember that.
Thank you for listening to Battling Struggles the Raider Way.